For today's warm-up, we're going to review the unit circle. What we're going to focus on first is the quadrantal angles. So right over here, we always start off, this is 0 degrees or 0 radians. Okay, so with quadrantal angles, we're going to focus on just those points on the unit circle. So like this over here would be on the x value of 1 and the y value of 0, because I didn't go up or down anything. Okay, while over here, this is 90 degrees, or pi over 2 for my radians, and that ordered pair would be 0, positive 1. On the left-hand side, we're going to have 180 degrees, 1 pi, and over here we went to the left 1, so that's going to be negative 1, 0. And down here we have 3 pi over 2 for 270 degrees. And that ordered pair is going to be 0, negative 1. So we went down 1, didn't go left or right any. Okay? We're going to focus on just the first quadrant. So we know 3 different angles here in the first quadrant. We know 30 degrees, 45 degrees, and 60 degrees. Okay? We also know the radian value. So it's pi over 6, pi over 4, and pi over 3. Okay? Remember, ordered pairs is pretty much, you're going to have cosine as your x value, so cosine of the angle is your x value, and sine of the angle is your y value. Okay? So right here, you can think back to your reference angle chart, cosine of 30 degrees. Okay? That's going to be root 3 over 2. While the sine of 30 degrees is 1/2. 45 degrees, remember the cosine and sine on your reference angle chart were the same. It was root 2 over 2, the x and y. Okay. While over here, 6 degrees, cosine of 6 degrees was 1/2, and then the sine of 6 degrees was root 3 over 2. Okay. Now, once you have the first quadrant, you can pretty much fill in the rest. Okay? Remember, all students take calculus. Over here, all of the numbers are positive. While in quadrant 2, anything that's sine or your y values are going to be positive. Okay? That also makes sense since your x-axis over here are going to contain negative numbers. Down here, tangent is going to be positive. Right, so that means sine and cosine will be negative, and over here, calculus, cosines will be positive, so all your x values are going to be positive. Okay, so once you have this quadrant done, you can pretty much fill in this quadrant. So if I have 180 degrees here, my reference angle from this x-axis to this point right here is going to be the same reference angle as from the 0 x-axis to 30 degrees. Okay, so you have 180 degrees minus 30 would give me 150. Okay, if this is 1 pi over 6, I could think of pi as 6 pi over 6 and subtract 1. That would give me 5 pi over 6. Okay, so that's how I can label those angle measures. Okay, I'm going to literally just copy over the ordered pair for pi over 6 over here to 5 pi over 6. And I know sine is going to be positive, so I'm not going to do anything to my y value, but I am going to change my x value to be negative. Okay, same thing over here. If I go down to the third quadrant, I know this from 180 to this angle is going to be, it has the same reference angle as if I were from 180 to 150. So I'm going to add 30 degrees. So 180 plus 30 degrees is 210. Okay, also I can think of 6 pi over 6 plus 1 pi over 6 is 7 pi over 6. Alright, so I'm going to notice that the ordered pair is exactly the same numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and copy those over. But in this quadrant, both the x and the y value are going to be negative. Because even if I look at this is the negative part of the x-axis, this is the negative part of the y-axis. And I also know that cosine and sine will be negative. Go ahead and take a few minutes to fill out the rest of your unit circle. See if you're able to get through the rest, and then check your answer for this unit circle on Blackboard.